Hi, my friend. It's so nice to have you here. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of a man who spent much of his life chasing something bigger. Bigger buildings, bigger fame, bigger victories, and eventually, the most powerful office in America. His name is Donald Trump. He became president, lost the White House, and then did something no American politician had achieved in more than a century. He won his way back. But how did a boy from Queens survive so many falls and keep returning to the center of power? Long before the skyscrapers, the television cameras, and the presidency, he was a boy growing up in Queens, New York, inside a family where success was expected and losing was never taken lightly. And before we begin, tell me in the comments, when you were a child, were you the quiet type or the one who always wanted to win? Donald was born on June 14, 1946, the fourth of 5 children of Fred and Mary Trump. His father was already a successful real estate businessman, strict, demanding, and deeply competitive. Donald was energetic, stubborn, and difficult to control. So at 13, his parents made a decision that would shape him for years. They sent him away to military school. Now, let's begin. After military school, Donald Trump began preparing for the world his father already knew well. Business. He first attended Fordham University, then transferred to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied economics. But some of his most important lessons came outside the classroom. Donald watched his father, Fred Trump, closely. Fred had built a successful real estate business in Queens and Brooklyn, creating housing for middle-class families and teaching his son how deals were made. Donald had money, connections, and a powerful family name. But that also created a problem. If he simply joined the family company, he might always be seen as Fred Trump's son. Donald wanted something bigger. After graduating in 1968, he entered the family business, but his attention was already turning toward Manhattan. For Donald Trump, Queens was beginning to feel too small. His father had built a successful business there, but Donald wanted a different kind of stage. He was drawn to Manhattan, the center of money, power, luxury, and attention. It was where New York's biggest deals were made and where the most famous buildings touched the skyline. But entering Manhattan was not easy. Donald was young, relatively unproven, and many established businessmen saw him as little more than Fred Trump's ambitious son from Queens. That only made him push harder. Instead of choosing a safe project, Trump began looking for something bold enough to force people to notice him. He found it beside Grand Central Terminal. The Commodore Hotel looked like a problem no one wanted. It was old, struggling, and sitting beside Grand Central Terminal at a time when New York itself was facing serious financial trouble. But Donald Trump saw something different. A chance to enter Manhattan with a deal big enough to change how people saw him. He worked out an agreement involving the city and the Hyatt Hotel Company. The plan was risky, especially for a young developer still trying to prove himself. But it worked. The old Commodore was transformed into the Grand Hyatt, which opened in 1980. The project gave Trump something more valuable than profit. It gave him credibility. For the first time, Manhattan had to take Donald Trump seriously. And now, he wanted something even bigger. The Grand Hyatt proved Donald Trump could compete in Manhattan. But Trump wanted more than a successful hotel. He wanted a building that people would immediately connect with his name. That opportunity became Trump Tower. Built on Fifth Avenue, one of the most prestigious streets in New York, the glass-covered skyscraper opened in 1983 with luxury apartments, offices, shops, and a dramatic interior designed to attract attention. And it worked. Wealthy buyers moved in. Tourists came to see it. Reporters wrote about it. Trump Tower quickly became more than real estate. It became a symbol of the image. Donald Trump was building around himself wealth, confidence, luxury, and success. This was the turning point. Donald Trump was no longer simply selling buildings. He was selling the name Trump. And once he understood how valuable that name could become, he started pushing it further onto hotels, casinos, and increasingly ambitious projects. But the bigger the brand became, the bigger the risks became with it. By the late 1980s, Donald Trump seemed unstoppable. His name was on towers, hotels, and casinos, and every new project seemed bigger than the last. In Atlantic City, he poured enormous sums into properties like Trump Plaza and the Taj Mahal, betting that scale would bring even greater success. But ambition was moving faster than the money behind it. Trump had taken on huge amounts of debt, and several businesses struggled to generate enough cash. By the early 1990s, the pressure became severe. Banks wanted answers. Properties were losing money. His empire looked vulnerable. For the first time, Trump faced the possibility of losing much of what he had built. But instead of disappearing, he negotiated, restructured debts, sold assets, and survived. The comeback, however, would come from somewhere unexpected. Television. Donald Trump had survived a financial crisis, but survival was not enough. He needed to rebuild something even more important than his balance sheet, his image. Then television changed everything. In 2004, Trump became the star of a new reality show called The Apprentice. Contestants competed in business challenges, hoping to prove they deserved a place in his organization. At the end of each episode, Trump faced the losing contestant and delivered two words that soon became famous across America. "You're fired." Millions watched. Week after week, television presented Trump as decisive, wealthy, powerful, and always in control. For viewers who knew little about his financial struggles, this became the version of Donald Trump they remembered. The show transformed him from a famous New York businessman into a national celebrity. And that mattered more than anyone realized at the time. Because Trump was no longer building only a business audience. He was building millions of people who already knew his face, his voice, and his name. Behind the towers, television cameras, and famous name, Donald Trump's personal life was almost as public as his business career. He married Ivana Trump in 1977, and together they had 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. Ivana also became involved in parts of the Trump business empire. But their marriage ended in a highly publicized divorce in the early 1990s. Trump later married Marla Maples, with whom he had a daughter, Tiffany. That marriage also ended. Then, in 2005, he married Melania Knaus, a model from Slovenia. They had one son, Baron. Over time, Trump's older children became increasingly involved in the family business and later in his political life. That made the Trump name more than a business brand. It became a family brand, visible in real estate, television, and eventually politics. And by then, Donald Trump had almost everything he had chased for decades: money, fame, recognition, and influence. Only one stage remained bigger than all the others: the White House. For years, Donald Trump had talked about politics, but in June 2015, he finally made it real. Standing inside Trump Tower, he announced that he was running for president of the United States. Many people laughed. Some believed it was just another publicity move from a television celebrity. Trump treated it as a fight. He used simple, forceful language, attacked political insiders, promised tougher immigration policies, and repeated one slogan everywhere: "Make America great again." While other candidates relied heavily on traditional campaigning, Trump used rallies and social media to speak directly to millions of voters. Slowly, the joke stopped being funny. He began defeating experienced Republican rivals one by one. And before we continue, tell me in the comments, at that moment, did you think Trump could actually win? On November 8, 2016, millions of Americans went to vote, and much of the political world expected Hillary Clinton to win. She had experience, powerful support, and the backing of many major institutions. Trump, by contrast, was still seen by many as the outsider who had somehow made it this far. Then the results began to change the mood. One battleground state after another became dangerously close. States Democrats had counted on started moving toward Trump. As the night grew later, the impossible became real. Donald Trump won the Electoral College and became the 45th President of the United States. The businessman from Queens, the television star, the candidate many experts had underestimated, had reached the White House. It was one of the biggest political shocks in modern American history. But winning the presidency was only the beginning. Now, Trump had to prove he could actually lead the country. Trump entered Washington as an outsider and governed like one. He signed major tax cuts, pushed tougher immigration policies, fought to expand the border wall, and launched a trade confrontation with China. He also used social media constantly, speaking directly to supporters while attacking critics and political opponents. To his supporters, Trump was finally challenging a system they believed had ignored them. To his critics, he was breaking political norms and deepening division. The conflict only grew. Investigations followed. Protests filled the streets. Trump was impeached twice by the House of Representatives, though the Senate did not convict him. By 2020, America was more polarized than ever, and Trump was no longer the surprising outsider. He was the president fighting to stay in power. In 2020, Donald Trump faced something he had spent his entire life trying to avoid: defeat. Joe Biden won the presidential election, but Trump refused to accept the result. He claimed the election had been stolen and challenged the outcome in courts across the country. Those challenges did not establish widespread fraud that could have changed the result. Then came January 6, 2021. As Congress met to certify Biden's victory, a violent crowd of Trump supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol. The images shocked the country and the world. Trump was impeached for a second time by the House, though the Senate again did not convict him. On January 20, Trump left the White House. For many politicians, that would have been the end. A lost election, 2 impeachments, a damaged legacy. But Donald Trump did not disappear. He returned to Florida, kept speaking to his supporters, and began preparing for something almost no one expected: a comeback. Most defeated presidents slowly fade from the political spotlight. Donald Trump did the opposite. After leaving Washington, he returned to Mar-a-Lago in Florida, but he never truly left politics. He continued holding rallies, speaking directly to supporters, and shaping the direction of the Republican Party. At the same time, legal pressure grew around him. Investigations and court cases began piling up, creating problems that might have ended another politician's career. But Trump's support remained remarkably strong. Instead of disappearing, he became the center of Republican politics once again. Then, in November 2022, he made his next move official. Donald Trump announced that he was running for president again. This time, he was not trying to win the White House for the first time. He was trying to take it back. Trump's return looked almost impossible. He was facing legal battles, intense criticism, and a crowded Republican primary. Yet one by one, his rivals fell away. His support inside the party remained powerful, and by 2024, he had secured the Republican nomination again. Then the race changed dramatically when President Joe Biden withdrew, and Vice President Kamala Harris became the Democratic nominee. Trump now had one final chance to complete the comeback. On November 5, 2024, Americans voted. When the results came in, Donald Trump had won. He would return to the White House as the 47th President of the United States, becoming only the second person in American history, after Grover Cleveland, to serve 2 non-consecutive presidential terms. 4 years earlier, he had left Washington defeated. Now he was going back. But that raised one final question. How had Trump survived so many moments that seemed capable of ending his career? Looking back at Donald Trump's life, one pattern appears again and again. He rarely stayed on the same stage for long. Queens led to Manhattan. Real estate led to television. Television led to politics. And politics led to the White House. But the more important pattern came after failure. When financial trouble damaged his image as a businessman, Trump rebuilt himself as a television star. When he lost the presidency in 2020, he did not retreat from politics. He kept his supporters close, remained at the center of the Republican Party, and returned 4 years later. Trump did not win every battle. What defined his story was his ability to turn attention, controversy, and even defeat into another opportunity. That may be the clearest thread running through his entire life. Whenever one chapter seemed to close, Trump found another arena in which to compete. And by the end of his story, that pattern would lead him back to the place he had already lost once: the White House. So how did a boy from Queens become the only man in more than a century to lose the White House and then win it back? The answer was never one perfect victory. Trump faced financial crises, public criticism, political defeat, legal battles, and moments when many believed his story was finished. Trump's story was never about avoiding defeat. He was defeated more than once. What made his journey unusual was what happened afterward. Again and again, when people believed his story was ending, he found a way to begin another chapter, and perhaps that is what makes his story so unusual. He did not simply rise once. He rose, fell, rebuilt, and returned. From Queens to Manhattan, from television to the White House, Donald Trump kept finding a way back into the center of the story. If you stayed with Donald Trump's story all the way from Queens to his return to the White House, tell me in the comments. Which comeback surprised you the most? And if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to Woven English, where we bring you unforgettable stories of people who changed history. I'll see you in the next story.